Look, stop struggling with right-handed bolt throws just because you think you have no other choice. If you are a lefty running a standard action, you are fighting your own gear every time you shoulder that rifle. It costs you speed, it breaks your cheek weld, and honestly, it is a liability in the field. The industry ignores the 15%, but I don't. I dug through the 2026 lineup to find the only 5 single-shot platforms that actually respect the southpaw shooter. Enough talk, let's get to work. Starting off at number 5, we have the Traditions Outfitter G3 Pro. Listen, most companies treat left-handed shooters like an afterthought, but this rig is different because it is ready to work right out of the box. The biggest headache for southpaws on a hammer-fired gun is trying to reach across the receiver to cock the weapon, which is a disaster waiting to happen when your adrenaline is spiking. This rifle solves that problem with dual knurled hammer extensions that come standard, meaning you can manipulate that hammer with your left thumb without breaking your shooting grip. It feeds on the 350 Legend, or the 450 Bushmaster, and it handles those heavy rounds using a specialized Lothar Walther barrel. Here is the technical breakdown. This barrel uses button rifling with an 11-degree target crown, which protects the rifling at the muzzle and ensures gas escapes evenly around the bullet base for superior stability. When you pull the trigger, it breaks cleanly like a frozen icicle, snapping in half, measuring a consistent 3.5 pounds on the gauge. However, let's be real, there is a flaw. The break action on this thing is stiffer than a rusted hinge when you first get it, requiring some serious muscle to crack open until you work it in over a few hundred cycles. The recoil with the muzzle brake is a polite shove rather than a punch, but the blast noise will rattle your teeth if you forget your ear pro. This is a solid entry-level contender that gets the job done, but it lacks the refined elegance of the absolute beast sitting at number 1. Stepping up the game to number 4, we have the Henry single-shot rifle. Now, we are leaving the budget bin and entering the realm of American steel and walnut. Most break-action rifles force you to contort your hand to hit a release lever on the side of the receiver, which is a nightmare for a lefty in a tree stand. Henry fixed this by mounting the locking lever directly on the top tang, right behind the hammer, allowing you to swing it left or right with your thumb to crack the action open. This is true mechanical neutrality, not just a marketing gimmick. Under the hood, this thing uses a rebounding hammer safety system, which means the hammer cannot touch the firing pin unless the trigger is fully depressed, eliminating the need for a clumsy manual safety button that slows you down. It feeds on everything from the 223 Remington to the heavy-hitting 450-70 Government. When you shoulder this rifle, it feels dense and balanced, weighing in at roughly 7 pounds for the steel model. The trigger pull is decent, breaking cleanly, but the lockup feels like a bank vault door slamming shut. But here is the deal. There is a massive annoyance with this rig. It does not have an automatic ejector, meaning it only lifts the spent shell for you to pluck out with your fingers. If you need a fast follow-up shot on a charging hog, picking that grass out manually feels like it takes an eternity. I know the purists will say it saves your brass, but sound off below if you would rather have an ejector that flings that shell over your shoulder when seconds count. Entering the elite tier at number 3, we have the CVA Scout XP. Honestly, this rifle is the modular revolution that left-handed shooters have been screaming for. Most single shots are fixed beasts, forcing you to adapt to them, but this platform adapts to you. It features a fluted .416 stainless steel barrel that shaves off critical ounces while maintaining the stiffness required for tack-driving accuracy. This matters because a stiff barrel vibrates with absolute consistency, shot after shot, shrinking your groups down to the size of a quarter even when the barrel heats up. The real magic, however, is the stock. It uses a fully adjustable system that lets you tweak the length of pull and cheek weld height instantly, ensuring your eye finds the scope center without searching, a massive advantage for southpaws who often struggle with standard comb heights. Squeezing the trigger feels like snapping a crisp carrot stick, clean, predictable, and weighing in at a light 3 pounds. It feeds on the 350 Legend or the 450 Bushmaster, delivering a recoil impulse that feels like a firm handshake rather than a punch in the shoulder. But here is the deal. I have to call out the aesthetics. Let's be real, it looks like a tactical Frankenstein, and for you wooden steel purists, it has zero soul. It feels utilitarian, cold, and a bit front-heavy due to that lightweight stock frame. This is a precision tool, but wait until you see the absolute monster waiting at number 1. Closer to the crown at number 2, we have the Bergara BA-13 Takedown. Now, we are getting into serious mountain territory. This is not just a rifle, it is a ghost in the high country, designed for the hunter who hikes 10 miles to take one shot. The biggest issue for left-handed shooters on a break action is the hammer spur digging into your thumb or being blocked by the scope ocular. Bergara solved this with a reversible hammer spur assembly that can be swapped to the left side in seconds. This means you can manipulate the hammer with your left thumb while keeping your shooting grip locked in tight, which is critical when you are shivering in a tree stand. Under the hood, it features a .416 AISI stainless steel barrel that is button rifled and honed to perfection. This manufacturing process aligns the molecular structure of the steel, ensuring that the bore diameter is consistent to within a 1/10,000th of an inch, which stabilizes the bullet for tack-driving accuracy. It feeds on the 6.5 Creedmoor, or the 308 Winchester, and it breaks down into 2 pieces with a simple lever pull. When you squeeze the trigger, it snaps like a dry twig under a boot, breaking cleanly at roughly 4 pounds. But here is the deal. The lightweight is a double-edged sword. Because this rig only weighs roughly 6.3 pounds, the recoil on heavy calibers feels like a swift kick from an angry mule. If you are recoil sensitive, you're going to flinch unless you put a suppressor on that threaded muzzle. This is world-class Spanish engineering. But wait until you see the undisputed king of single shots at number 1. Finally, sitting alone at number 1, we have the Ruger number 1. Look, this is not just a rifle, this is royalty. While every other gun on this list is a tool, the number 1 is an heirloom that you pass down to your grandkids when you're done with it. For the southpaw, this is the holy grail because the falling block action is inherently symmetrical, meaning the under lever drops the breech block vertically without swinging to either side. This allows you to manipulate the action with either hand with equal speed, a feat that bolt actions can only dream of. The safety is a top tang slider, located perfectly in the upper curve of the grip, allowing your left thumb to disengage it instantly without shifting your grip or taking your eyes off the buck. It feeds on legendary cartridges like the 275 Rigby or the 6.5 Creedmoor, and it stabilizes them with a cold hammer-forged barrel that is denser and smoother than standard button rifling. When you send a round downrange, the recoil feels like a heavy, deliberate push against your shoulder, soaking up the energy like a sponge. But here is the deal. Finding one of these is harder than finding a unicorn in the woods. Ruger only produces them in limited distributor runs now, meaning the price tag is astronomical and availability is scarce. You're going to pay a premium for this level of class, and you might be afraid to scratch it in the brush. Listen, stop compromising just because the industry ignores your dominant hand. If you are hiking the steep ridges and need absolute weight savings, you grab the Bergara BA13 Takedown and swap that hammer spur. If you are hunting the whitetail woods of the Midwest and need a straight wall rig that fits like a glove, the CVA Scout XP is the only logical choice. If you crave the nostalgia of wood and steel, but need a safety that actually works for you, buy the Henry singleshot. But if you want the absolute best, if you want a rifle that defines the art of the single shot, hunt down a Ruger #1 and never let it go. If you want the raw truth without the fluff, lock it in right here.